This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Everyone remembers the choice between the red pill and the blue. This cinematic moment mirrors the deepest form of awakening, the decision to shed the person you thought you were. Modern life is saturated with a specific kind of advice. Find yourself, find your passion, find your purpose, discover your authentic self. It is perhaps the most repeated instruction of our time. We act as though identity is a buried treasure, a perfectly formed version of ourselves hidden under layers of doubt. Yet this search for a permanent, perfect identity is often what keeps us feeling lost. Consider a recent moment when you were so immersed in an activity that your internal monologue completely vanished. Not a moment of distraction, but one of total engagement, where the voice inside your head simply stopped. Whether it was painting, running, or a deep conversation, you existed without self-evaluation. You weren't wondering how you looked or how you compared to others. Ironically, these moments devoid of self-awareness are when we feel most alive. Psychology identifies the experiencing self as the part of us that simply lives. It is the raw sensation of the present, the warmth of coffee or the sound of rain against a window. The narrative self is an internal storyteller, constantly judging and predicting, replaying mistakes. Over time, our titles, politics, and traumas crystallize into a rigid structure. We defend an identity we never chose, turning our story into a prison. Social media accelerates this entrapment. Every profile demands a curated performance, a highlight reel of existence. Over time, we stop living our moments and start performing them for an imagined audience. We pause a beautiful sunset to document it. We stop dancing because we imagine how we look to an observer. The moment hasn't changed, but a narrator has appeared, standing between us and reality. This constant internal commentary creates a barrier to the present world. For many of us, this division is the primary source of our suffering. The Japanese philosopher Nishida Kitarō pointed toward a solution he called pure experience. He described a pre-linguistic, natural state that exists in the split second before the ego's commentary arrives. Imagine a wave crashing against the shore. For a brief window, there is only the sound. Not you listening to the sound, just the raw event. Your mind arrives a second later to label it beautiful or loud. That initial moment is pure experience. Children naturally operate in this state. They don't draw to become artists or run to burn calories. They engage because the action itself is irresistible. They have not yet learned the habit of constant self-monitoring. In The Matrix, Neo becomes extraordinary only when he stops trying to fulfill the chosen one identity. When he dodges bullets, there is no gap between the action and the one acting. He is simply responding to what is real. Modern athletes and artists call this the flow state. It is a period where time disappears and effort becomes secondary to the movement itself. This reveals a paradox. We achieve our highest potential and most authentic state only when we stop obsessing over ourselves. Nishida framed the ego as a highly convincing storyteller, rather than a villain to be destroyed. It is a narrative voice we have mistaken for our core. We often mistake temporary roles for our core existence. When a job title or a relation or rejection feels physically painful, it threatens the fragile narrative we have spent years building. We aren't defending our lives, we are defending our stories. The ego survives by promising that the next milestone, the next promotion or relationship, will finally bring completion. But the satisfaction decays quickly, and the next version of the search begins. While we struggle to prove our worth, the natural world simply exists. An ocean does not wonder if it is sufficient. A tree does not compare its height to the forest. Much of the exhaustion in modern life comes from the immense energy required to carry and defend these self-narratives. It is like wearing a heavy backpack for so long that you forget it can be taken off. Nishida's philosophy suggests that clarity is found by entering life more completely rather than escaping it. Awakening is the repetitive practice of noticing when the mind has drifted into a story and gently returning it to the physical world. Tomorrow morning, observe one sensory experience, the warmth of a coffee mug or the light in a room. For 10 seconds, experience the moment without naming it, photographing it, or judging it. We can apply this to how we listen. Most of us listen only to prepare a reply. True listening requires setting aside our internal defenses to actually hear another person. Drink the coffee, not your emails. Walk the path, not your to-do list. Watch the sunset, rather than the screen. Life's beauty is hidden in these ordinary moments. The tragedy is how often our mental narratives keep us absent from the time we actually have. Experiencing reality directly does not erase pain, but it separates raw grief from the prolonged suffering created by our self-stories. A mistake is real. The belief that it defines your entire worth is a story. There is a Japanese saying, "The moon never argues with the clouds. It simply waits. When the clouds pass, the moon is revealed as it always was." Our internal clarity is similar. It is not something we manufacture, but something that is revealed when the noise of expectation subsides. So instead of asking, "Who am I?" we might ask, "What am I experiencing right now?" before the story begins. We are like waves, endlessly trying to become taller or stronger, never realizing our nature is inseparable from the ocean. We spend our lives trying to improve the wave while forgetting the water. We do not need to rush past ordinary moments in search of an extraordinary identity. We already belong to the unfolding of reality. The ultimate goal is not to find yourself, but to lose the distance between yourself and the experience of being alive.